LTHC is exactly as its name implies. It is a place for homeless people to get back on their feet. LTHC is a coordinated point of entry for initial assessment for anyone experiencing homelessness or a housing crisis in Tippecanoe County. They work in a unique way to solve this issue, not only through traditional ways such as offering a few beds to those most in need, but they also offer services such as providing a case manager, someone who is there to help them get on their feet and point them to resources that would be invaluable to them, medical assistance, something that is required for most of the clients who walk through the doors of the LTHC, and, of most importance for our group, the day room, where people can have a safe place to stay during the day, charge their devices, eat a hot meal, and just relax.
Elizabeth is the Outreach Associate and Volunteer Coordinator for the LTHC. She was our main contact during this whole process.
The LTHC needed our help to develop a solution based around this problem space.
The process for checking clients in for the relevant services is inefficient. The company secures funding on the number of clients in which they serve. However, many clients will skip the line or be impatient so they can get what they want faster, which makes the count of how many people they serve inaccurate. Further, employees are often overwhelmed by the myriad requests and demands by the guests. This therefore raises the stress to untenable levels. Lastly, signage is inadequate and does not help convey important information.
The information the clients give to the front desk are the name and the date of birth. Once the clients have given their information to the employee, they can go and sit down at any table they choose in the day room. The issue lies with the efficiency of the check-in process. When one client goes to sit down, another client in line goes up to give their information to an employee. This process is inefficient because the amount of clients who need checking in during the morning rush is too much for only 2 employees to handle. This causes traffic to build up near the entrance of the day room and slows the check-in process for the clients and the staff.
To get started on our work, we need to go on to.
During our first visit, the main objective was to survey the space, collect some specific information from Elizabeth, and interview some of the clients to receive insight. Some specific insight we found from interviews was the front desk workers expressed that the software they have to use is inefficient and it's hard to check people in, especially when clients rush in impatiently. The security guard said that employees at LTHC don't have enough funding to fully support their clients. He wishes that there could be some type of more efficient check-in system, for example, using wristbands to scan, or fingerprint recognition, or even facial scanning. That would help with better efficiency and control in the morning. Similarly, the overall consensus from our interviews with clients was that the organization lacked funding and all the processes were inefficient. As a whole, the day room didn't have a whole lot of insight to draw from pure observation. The main information we got from this was that everything seemed slow and inefficient. Leaving LTHC, we had one thought in mind. We have to find a way to make the organization as a whole run more smoothly, therefore decreasing stress. This main idea of reducing total employee stress was reinforced when we asked Elizabeth one main question. If you were to have one top priority for us to work on, what would it be? We were directed towards employee stress as a whole, which would also help reduce the retention issue. This became our new focus. Little did we know, this would be a major setback.
We dove into the ideation process in class with the new idea in mind. This class time was based around getting as many ideas on the whiteboard as possible and then sifting through them. We had many ridiculous ideas such as face scanners, stress-reducing drugs, and an employee sweepstakes to win a car. But we also had more realistic solutions that we eventually narrowed down to 3, which we thought were the best suited to solving the employee stress within the LTHC as a whole. Those 3 solutions were sticking with remodeling the check-in process, redesigning their website, and adding different features that relate to employee recognition and satisfaction, and lastly, a capability map. A capability map at its core is a chart that tracks each employee's capabilities, or, in other words, what tasks each employee is available to cover. This helps organize what the organization as a whole is capable of and allows for recognition that areas that are lacking and can lead to cross-training. We came to the conclusion that the capability map was our best option and sent an email to Elizabeth and got her thoughts and feedback. We got an email back. However, this is where the major setback arises. We were advised to return to the original problem space and develop a solution around that.
We were all nervous about potentially being behind a week until we had our group meeting with our mentor and course instructor, Sean. He reminded us of how many different solutions we came up with related to the original problem space and to not count any of those out. When developing our new solution, we took into account that in order to reduce the stress and inefficiency of the check-in system, we needed to speed up the rate at which clients can enter and leave the front desk area. We needed to ensure that we are not adding any workload to the employee's schedule, and we needed to do it in a way that was cost effective and that works for both the employees and the clients.
We had found our final solution. We had a group meeting right away to figure out the details before we visited LTHC to test our prototype. Our solution is based on pulling people out of the line to check in via QR code. This therefore takes pressure off of the front desk and provides the clients a faster check-in if they so choose to use it. The clients line up as usual, but as they funnel through the door, they have two options. They can either go about as usual and wait for a turn at the front desk computer, or they can go off to the right of the divider and use their phone to scan one of the QR code displays to be directed to a Google form. This Google form contains the same check-in information they would provide at the front desk. They are free to go sit down as long as they finish filling out the short Google form. The information from the Google form gets logged into a Excel spreadsheet that the front desk employees have access to. This allows them to still reliably log every check-in, but it takes some of the numbers away from the front desk during the rush and allows them to log the clients into the state system whenever they have time. During testing, we experienced a few issues with the QR code compatibility with Android and the date of birth function in the Google form. Every client that came over to use the QR code loved having a faster way to check in. One of the clients said he wished they had used this sooner. The Excel sheet worked as intended, and the front desk employees were excited beforehand and satisfied after.
Our next steps would be to improve the date of birth function within the Google form. Additionally, we need to advise LTHC in order to close the loop by owning their own code maker and producing their own QR codes for the clients to scan. By keeping this all in-house, the process would get cheaper and more secure. Looking back at our experience within the project, we have a couple things that we think we would do differently. We, as a group, believe that we should have communicated more often with LTHC, as well as have visited the facility more often. In doing so, we likely would have been able to gather more information and more insight from the employees and clients as opposed to brainstorming with limited perspective. One mistake that we realized we did was setting on a single solution very early on in the project. As a result of multiple misunderstandings and miscommunications, we tunnel visioned to a solution that we eventually ended up changing. Having an open mind and exploring different options would have likely resulted in better solutions. Our biggest takeaway was learning how to communicate with customers. This would have been setting expectations, quality control, as well as answering all of their questions. However, in the end, we consider our system to be a major improvement and certainly steps in the right direction.